Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Today, in place of our usual Vivek Chudamani class, we are going to have a special talk because we have a special guest with us. Swami Ishadhyanananda ji is the assistant minister at the Vedanta Society in Sacramento. He came to this country in 2017, that's almost 7 years ago. And he was here. He came and spoke 5 years ago. So some of you, if you have strong memory, might remember that. But we have a chance to hear him again today. His subject is Sri Ramakrishna and lifelong lifelong learning. I'm speaking on memory, and look at my memory. So, remember, just like these sayings are from different traditions we have on the wall here, we have two on the outer room, sitting room, some of you would have seen, and one of that is the saying from Sri Ramakrishna, "As long as I live, so long do I learn." If at any time you felt that, what is the meaning of that? You have come at the right time because today we get to hear about Sri Ramakrishna and lifelong learning. Please welcome Swami Ishadhyanananda ji.
My respectful pranams to Revered Swami Ishadhyanananda ji Maharaj, and namaskar and love to all of you. Happy to be back. Good evening. I joined at a center. That is, I started my monastic life in an ashrama which is close to Belur Math, our headquarters. So I got the chance to visit Belur Math often. I was a new novice, and the opportunity to visit Belur Math again and again was a great opportunity. At that time, our President Maharaj was Swami Ranganathananda ji. He was 94 at that time. Whenever I used to go to Belur Math, after making my pranams, offering my pranams to all the temples, I used to go to offer my pranams to Swami Ranganathananda ji. One day, I was late. Late in the sense, I missed the appointed time for offering pranams. So I went there, but fortunately, the secretary to Swami Ranganathananda ji, he allowed me to go to his room and offer my pranams. He, of course, cautioned me that don't talk much, just go, offer your pranams, and come back. So I went to his room. I saw he was lying down on his back. And at that time, he also had severe physical illness, in the sense he was having internal bleeding. So imagine 94, internal bleeding, is lying down on bed, but with a thick volume of book on his chest, and reading just like as a child, if a child gets a comic book, the way the child reads with so much of attention, he was reading like this. I was standing for a while and even tried to draw his attention, Maharaj, Maharaj, but he did not listen, as it were. At last, I spoke a little louder to draw his attention, and offered my pranam. And at that time, I was curious. What is that book that he is reading so engagedly, he's so absorbed in? I looked at the book. It's a thick volume. The name of the book was What Went Wrong with the Muslims of India. I was a bit surprised that Maharaj, at this age and with this health condition, he is reading a history book. So I came back and asked the Swami, who was in charge of the ashrama where I was, what is this, Maharaj? He says, that is Ranganathanandaji. He loved to learn. Any book he could lay his hand on, he will pick up and start reading, no matter what. Even some of the Swamis, senior Swamis, used to say that Ranganathanandaji was one person who could get at least one good thing from any book. The books we may reject as low standard, nothing to learn from, he could get at least some good things from that. So our Swami said, that is Ranganathanandaji, a lifelong learner. Even at the age of 90, he was already a polyglot. He knew at least 6 or 7 languages fluently. At the age of 90, he said, let me start learning Tamil, a South Indian language, because I did not get the chance to learn Tamil at the age of 90. So the Swami in charge of our ashrama said that this is Ramakrishna order, where it is a proverb now, as long as we learn, as long as I live, so long do I learn. At that time also I was reading the book Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master. That is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, Sri Ramakrishna's biography by Swami Ishadhyanananda. And our Swami in charge told us, the Brahmacharis, that when we joined, read this book as it were you were preparing for an exam. Read one paragraph in Bengali, original Bengali, one paragraph in English, and write down what you have understood. This is the only book you should read now, as if you are preparing for exam. So in that book, after a few days of this incident, I came to that spot where this incident happens. Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, who was skeptical about God, was treating Sri Ramakrishna in Shambhupur, a suburb of Calcutta. There one day, the discussion was going on like this, that the devotees present told Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, you know, there are some scientists who don't believe in God. And there are some who believe that God is like this only. The way they define God, God is limited by that. Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar said, this is pure egoism. And those who really know, those who try to learn, they know that there is so much more to know. Then he says, I am paraphrasing. Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar says that I never consider myself that I know everything. I always think there is so much to know, and I am ready to know from anybody. Sri Ramakrishna was very happy hearing this. Sri Ramakrishna said that as long as I live, so long do I learn. That is a lifelong learner, being a lifelong learner, which has become proverbial in our organization. And it is important to be a lifelong learner, but I believe that it is becoming much more important now. As the days are going on, this value of lifelong learning is actually increasing. Probably you know, Yuval Noah Harari some years ago wrote a book, Sapiens, History of Civilization. At the end of the book, almost towards the end, he predicted that artificial intelligence will reach a point soon when millions of jobs could be wiped out overnight. And it has come to true. Many of you know that such jobs, white-collar jobs like programming, can very soon go extinct. Very soon go extinct. And Yuval Noah Harari said that to survive in this age, disruptive technological age, the only one quality that is needed is keep on learning. Keep on learning. No matter how much secure you may be at your job, but you have to always keep on learning to keep on top of everything. So what was good, important, is now probably is needed for our survival. Keep on learning, to be a lifelong learner. Not only that, it has been found that among all the virtues, human virtues, Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, he did one thing. He enlisted all the human virtues into 24 broad categories, and he gave them the name character strengths. All the virtues that we know, he categorized into 24 basic virtues. One of them was openness to learning. And recently, one very prolific, brilliant cognitive scientist, Scott Barry Kaufman of New York University, he did something interesting. He did a meta-analysis that among all the character strengths, which character strength is the greatest predictor of happiness and well-being. He found with a meta-analysis that number one virtue that is a predictor for well-being was being grateful. Being grateful. And number two was openness to learning. Those who are open to learn, those who are lifelong learners, they are happier. Just a few weeks ago, New York Times, in their column called Well, they published an article, 4 things to learn from toddlers to be happy. And this is the opinion of many psychologists, that toddlers are exemplars of how to be happy. So 4 things to learn from them. Number 1, toddlers never compromise with their sleep. They may disturb other sleeps, but they will complete their needed amount of sleep. They will complete it. That is one thing to learn from them. Never compromise with your total sleep. Number 2, any opportunity they get, they move. They don't let any opportunity to move go. They start they keep moving as much as they can. So that is another thing. Keep moving, keep moving, active. Third, they also, any opportunity they get, they laugh. They laugh, they smile. They don't let go any opportunity to laugh. And the fourth quality is their curiosity. They are curious about everything. So much so, it is said that for toddlers, curiosity is like a drive, just like hunger or thirst. For toddlers, the curiosity to know, to explore is kind of a drive. And this curiosity is the main attribute or main characteristics of the lifelong learners. A few years ago, from Harvard Business School, Erica Anderson interviewed many people who are considered to be lifelong learners. She found that two qualities stand out in them. One is motivation and curiosity. Motivation to learn and being curious to learn. And it was seconded by another independent scientist, political scientist, Tom Friedman, the regular contributor to New York Times. Tom Friedman wrote a book, The World is Flat, The Brief History of 21st Century. In that book, he concluded that when it comes to education, more than intelligence, what matters is curiosity and aspiration. So if we want to be lifelong learner, this is the one virtue we need to cultivate. Curiosity. Some people are naturally so, lifelong learner. They are curious about things, about knowledge. But others may have to cultivate this curiosity. So to be lifelong learner, that one virtue that we need to cultivate is being curious. How to be curious then? How to cultivate curiosity? We are all curious when we are toddlers, but gradually we lost. Many of us lost that capacity to be curious. Why? One reason, they say, is formal education. Formal education is a killer of curiosity because toddlers start asking many questions, but the teachers say these are all distractions. The teacher has to complete their target of completing the lesson, and so they discourage asking too many questions. Don't ask too many questions, focus here, focus here. Or sometimes our curiosity can make us embarrassed. When we started growing up, sometimes we curiously asked something and later on we felt embarrassment for that. And that is how we lose that childlike curiosity. But curiosity can be cultivated. A lot of research has gone into curiosity. One British-Canadian psychologist in 1950s, he did some preliminary research about curiosity. He found at that time that there are two types of curiosity. One is perceptual curiosity. I see something novel. For example, just last month, I was traveling back from Lake Tahoe to Sacramento, and I saw a Cybertruck, Tesla Cybertruck. And the appearance itself, what's that? What's that? Is it Cybertruck? That kind of curiosity. But that kind of curiosity, animals also have. That kind of curiosity don't take us any further. Just perceptual curiosity, a new model, a new something. But he found what really matters is epistemic curiosity, epistemic, curiosity for knowledge or ideas, information that contributes to our growth, our knowledge or deep learning. So that was the model. Recently, one psychologist from Florida, he found out that even within epistemic curiosity, there are two types of curiosity. One is when we find something new information which does not match our knowledge base, something, a new challenge which we find startled about, and we want to then increase our knowledge base about it. The great example would be a cliffhanger. A cliffhanger, you see say a thriller web series, it ends with a cliffhanger. So whatever we knew about the plot, and this piece of new information is startling. It's not matching with what we knew. We want to know more about it. Okay. It is called de-curiosity. D means deficit. We feel like there is a deficit in our knowledge. We want to know more. And when we fill that gap, we feel like, aha, now I understand. Aha, now I understand. For example, last Sunday, someone asked me in New York that I want to ask you a question which I was hesitating to ask many Swamis. I said, yes, go ahead. So she asked me the question that I love Sri Ramakrishna. I read all of his books, but there is one fact which I cannot reconcile with. What is that? That how Sri Ramakrishna could let Holy Mother Sarada Devi live in such horrible condition of Nahavat. Nahavat, where Holy Mother used to live, such a small space. So Sri Ramakrishna, being her husband, how could he let her live there? Why he did not care for Holy Mother? This fact really disturbs me. Then I said, so her information or knowledge about Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, with that she could not come in terms with the fact that why Holy Mother was staying there, and it was bothering her. It's an information gap. Then I told her, look, we are thinking like that, but think from the perspective of the person who underwent that experience, Holy Mother. Holy Mother says that my days in Nahavat was the best period in my life. A picture of bliss was, as it were, always placed in my heart. Because Sri Ramakrishna is present and ongoing spiritual discourses, singing, dancing. So we are imposing our standard of happiness on Holy Mother. And we are thinking that is the way to be happy. But what Sri Ramakrishna was giving was far more than a spacious room to stay. Is not it? It appears that she got understanding of that. So it's an example, when even in Vedanta or Yoga Sutras, we have read again and again, but sometimes we come upon something, a statement, when we find our existing knowledge about Vedanta, or Yoga Sutra, or whatever, is not enough to answer this question. Then we become interested to know about that. That is D-curiosity. D-type curiosity is strong, and we feel like we have to fill the gap. And how we can have that? By asking why questions. Why? Why? More why we ask, the deeper our knowledge becomes, from superficial to deep knowledge, by asking why questions. Why questions? That is D type of curiosity. Another curiosity is, it is not that we have to learn, But we come across, we read something new, new ideas, and we feel that, wow, that's interesting. It's a new territory altogether. It is called I curiosity, that is intellectual curiosity. We derive intellectual joy, pure joy, and learning new ideas, new way of understanding things, new way of looking at the world. Sometimes even knowing the other person's perspective, the opposite perspective. John Stuart Mill said that I know only very little if I know only one side of the story. If I know only one side of the story, I know very little. So sometimes even knowing the other person's view, the opposite view, is also expands our horizon, new ideas, new way of looking at things. And that can be cultivated by exposing ourselves to good sources of ideas, credible sources of ideas. For example, there are so many nowadays, for example, Atlantic, the magazine Atlantic. It always, every day, publishes great essays, which goes into the depth of the things. Just now, before Maharaj called me for the talk, I was reading Scientific American essay, new essay that has been published just a few hours ago. It was the new finding that those societies who have gone through lot of challenges like war or famine, those societies are very much resilient societies. They have become more and more resilient over the time. Just like human beings, when they go through challenges, lot of challenges, and successfully navigates the challenges, become resilient in future, so also societies who have gone through this type of things. I'm just giving an example. New ideas of looking at the things, that is I curiosity, I type of curiosity. In Sri Ramakrishna's life, we see both type of curiosities. D curiosity, an intense desire to learn. For example, how the Christians pray to God, how the Muslims pray, how the Brahmas pray to God. That was kind of passion for him. Okay, he needed to know that kind of curiosity. And at the other I curiosity, that is, he got opportunity to learn something new. He grabbed that opportunity. For example, Bhairavi Brahmani, a teacher in Tantra, she comes and asks Sri Ramakrishna, would you like to practice Tantra? So anyone else would have probably said, I have achieved everything in spiritual life. But Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, let me see what is in Tantra. Totapuri comes and says, would you like to practice non-dualism under me? Sri Ramakrishna says, yes. You may be thinking these are all spiritual examples. But in day-to-day life too, Sri Ramakrishna was curious to know how photography functions. He went to a studio to see how photography works. And at that time, he saw that to have photography, you need to have silver nitrate layer on a glass, and then the photo gets imprinted there. And he takes a message from there and says to Keshav Sen that, Keshav, you know why your lecture does not change people's life? Because your audience does not have the coating of yearning for God. That coating is missing, so whatever you are telling is not making any impression on their mind. So his curiosity leads to photography. He observes it, learns it, assimilates it, and also connects to our day-to-day life, spiritual life. Even he wants to go to museum, Calcutta Museum, sees all the skeletons, and which has become fossilized. He comes back with the conclusion, see the power of holy company. Power of company. These skeletons, having been lived with stones, have become stone-like. Similarly, if you live with holy men, have the company of holy men, you will become holy like them. So he had also that type of curiosity, which is not directly related to God, but he was a curious mind, So the point is to be curious, to be a lifelong learner. We need to cultivate curiosity by asking why questions and exposing ourselves to good sources of ideas. You may be thinking that this seeking information and being curious about everything, will it not make us distracted? In today's world, so much there is to learn. Even there is such a thing called FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm missing. In Silicon Valley now, it is off the topic. Silicon Valley now, there are two mantras. YOLO, you only live once, and FOMO, fear of missing out. And these two combinations, deadly combinations. So since they live only once, they don't want to let any opportunity go. Taylor Swift performed Santa Clara last year, and the ticket price was astronomical because nobody wanted to let it go. Because you only live once and you don't know whether Taylor Swift, when she will perform again in Silicon Valley. So price was high. Okay, so fear of missing out. The question is then, will you be distracted? No. We become distracted when we seek information only, but not when we seek ideas. Okay. When we get a WhatsApp message and new information, new news, we pursue, that is distraction. But if we carefully, purposefully be curious about ideas with an overarching purpose, an overarching purpose could be how to understand the world better, how to live my life better, more wisely. This type of overarching ideal, with that, if we be curious towards new ideas, new ways, then we will not be distracted. And is curiosity all good? No. There are two types of curiosities which are not good. One is excessive curiosity about other person's life. That leads to gossip mongering. And another, it's a serious one, excessive heightened curiosity about dangers and threats. That leads to conspirational theories. It has been found those who fall into the prey of conspiracy theories, they have heightened interest in danger or threat. So these two types of curiosity is not good. Then you may say, there is a saying that curiosity kill the cat? Curiosity kill the cat, right? To that, one philosopher said, if curiosity killed the cat had a noble death. If curiosity killed the cat had a noble death. So the point is curiosity. Curiosity not only makes us happy, neuroscientists say, curiosity is like mental gym for us. If we don't use our mind, we lose it, just like our muscles. In the same way, to keep our mind fresh, and worked out, we need to be curious. We need to be curious about things, to be happy. Also, it makes us interesting. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I don't like monotonous people. Those who say the same thing, okay, same thing. So I like variety. To avoid being a boring person, we need to be curious. Abraham Lincoln used to say that I do not care much about someone who does not become wiser every day, who is not little more wiser than what they were yesterday. I don't have much concern or regard for such a person. So to be happy, to avoid boredom, to keep our mind fresh, to avoid Alzheimer's, even with this disruptive age, even to survive, we need to be curious. We need to be lifelong learner. Now you may ask, we understand all of this. What is this direct relationship in our spiritual life? It has been found all the mystics have had one common quality, that is openness to experience. Openness. Their minds were not closed. It is called the Zen mind, the beginner's mind. They were curious mind. So curiosity has direct connection with this openness to experience. If we look at our spiritual life, you will see that our spiritual experiences happened when we expected them the least. Why? Because on those moments, we were open. Our mind was open. We are curious. With an open mind, we are approaching our meditation, our God. And we are not expecting anything. And those are the moments when spiritual experiences happen. Those unexpected moments. What I do is, I love toddlers. I love toddlers. And I watch them whenever I go to park. Any opportunity, I look at the toddlers and take a moment to appreciate the innocence, the curiosity they have. And sometimes during meditation, I think myself as a toddler. With that toddler's mind, I approach Sri Ramakrishna, who was also childlike. And meditation becomes very fruitful, very, very, I would say, effective and meaningful. And what is being toddler? If you look at toddler, the one quality, that is being curious. Being curious. So, the call to action is that cultivate curiosity. And if we cultivate curiosity in any matter, it will also influence our curiosity, or it will also affect our curiosity in all dimensions. If we become curious in some of the ideas, it is a universal trait, kind of. It is not only compartmentalized about, say, science or philosophy, but it is a trait we are building. And we are also becoming curious about spiritual life, and even in our meditation. With that curious mind, when we approach our meditation, they hold promise. We can have genuine spiritual experience, which can transform our life. So, Ishadhyanananda ji, in his biography, writes, in Sri Ramakrishna's biography, that when the avatars come, they not only teach us about spiritual life, but also they teach us how to live our day-to-day life, so-called secular life, gracefully. Gracefully. So Sri Ramakrishna showed us how to live even our day-to-day life gracefully by becoming a lifelong learner. A lifelong learner, and at the root, at the heart of lifelong learning is being curious. Being curious. So let's develop that. And I have a belief, which I cannot prove, that if we try to become curious, Sri Ramakrishna, who did not know too many English words, only a few of them, only one of them was thank you. And I believe that if we try to become curious, Sri Ramakrishna, every time we are trying to become curious, Sri Ramakrishna, sitting in our heart, is saying thank you. With that, I conclude, thank you. Right? Time is up. Yes, I can take a few questions. We have still 10 minutes to go.
So if you have any question, there will be a mic here. You can come in front and ask.
Yes, please.
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you for that wonderful lecture.
Thank you.
Swamiji, you addressed this, but specifically in some of our teachings, we feel that it's important not to read too much, to think too much. Even Sri Ramakrishna would say don't read. And I understand you said it's knowledge, but a lot of times we start reading because we're curious, but then we don't stop. So how do we then continue to seek knowledge without being with the beginner's mind?
Seeking knowledge actually is not distracting. Okay. Seeking knowledge is not distracting. If seeking knowledge is making me compromise with my spiritual practice, then it becomes distracting. For example, in our training center, our senior Swamiji said that don't substitute meditation with study. Many people think that, okay, I am not meditating, but let me read some scripture. That is also a great thing. So they used to tell us, no, don't substitute your core spiritual practice with study. Study has its value, and pursuit of knowledge has its own value. That is, it helps us to keep our mind at the level of ideas. And it is said that next to level of spirit is the level of ideas. If we cannot keep our mind at the level of the spirit, the next best thing is to keep at the level of ideas. So I don't think that seeking knowledge and purposefully seeking knowledge, which has connection to our spiritual life or even understanding things and world better, ourselves better, distract us from our spiritual practice. Yes, please.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. I think we are, at least from my perspective, I can say, we are hesitating to ask questions, to feel, as you said, embarrassment. And even I used to be a teacher in India. Like, we don't encourage people to ask questions. So how do you develop that, even if the question may be stupid, sometimes you feel you prove yourself as stupid. So that's why we don't want to ask question. So how do you balance that and keep that eagerness to ask question?
Yeah. Yes, I understand that in some situation it may be difficult to ask the question. But what? Guess what? We now have ChatGPT. Not only that, we have Swami Vivekananda GPT. And I recently learned that they have developed Swami Sarvapriyananda GPT. They're about to roll it out. And where you can ask any question and how Swami Sarvapriyananda would reply that. And not only that, they will give the relevant video clip, link. You can also click and see that portion where Swami Sarvapriyananda ji is replying to that. So if nowadays, if in a setting you find that you are hesitating, ask ChatGPT. Even Gita GPT has come, Swami Vivekananda GPT, and I am sure they are working on Sri Ramakrishna GPT. Yes, so we can ask there. Yes, please.
Namaskar, Swamiji. It was a really interesting talk. My question is mostly about consolidation. So, sometimes when you read certain books, right? Like for example, there is an author called Ted Chiang, and he writes like very interesting stories, which is science fiction plus philosophy plus very extremely interesting. Some concepts are directly applicable to our spiritual life too. But sometimes it gets confusing. Like there is some muddling of things which takes a long time to clear up. You have to like reread Swami Vivekananda's, or you have to reread like Sri Ramakrishna, like to just clear up certain things. So like we often fall into these traps because we are curious and it's extremely interesting intellectually. How do you help yourself?
If you are too much, then you have to curb. No, my approach is I don't read too much. Okay, I read something and take time to absorb it. Okay, that have I understood it, and what's its implication, and does it contradict with what I have learned so far? If it is contradicting, then why it is contradicting? So which one should I take? And when I read a book, I am a very slow reader. I start reading a book and I keep reading until I have got a good new idea. And I stop the book. Then I stay with the idea, okay, and think its application, implication in our life, and is it a better version of the same truth I heard somewhere? I think we need to process it slowly, okay. So being curious does not mean we have to continuously read, okay. But whatever we are reading, look, Sri Ramakrishna's curiosity. He just did not see how photography is made, but he saw that, observed that well, and assimilated it so well that he could immediately give an example that the value of holy company, he could find the example there, analogy there. Okay, so I think that is the way to go. Yes, please.
Swamiji, Swami Ramakrishna always encouraged his devotee to reason against each other or argue or talk to each other. What was the learning in there in terms of encouraging with especially Swami Vivekananda to have a lot of reasoning with other people, or I guess I call it constructive arguments?
Right. Yeah, that is difficult to say what was in his mind, but one reason could be by these arguments he could probably understand where someone is coming from. So he had to work on them, right? Teach the disciples and those around them. So the way they are arguing or displaying their knowledge, probably Sri Ramakrishna was using that as a measure of where they belong. To that level, I have to teach them. That could be one reason. Maharaj, what do you think? Because Sri Ramakrishna used to, another reason, what do you think of me? So anybody who does not know probably would think is a narcissistic question. What do you think of me? But it is nothing about me. It is all about you. What you say, how you look at me, from there I can understand at what level I have to work. So I think that could be a reason why I used to encourage constructive arguments or discussion among some of the devotees. Yes, please.
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Yes.
Swamiji, my question is just being self-critical a little bit. I definitely do the curiosity you said not to have, which is curiosity about other people. Maybe not in my immediate spectrum, but reading pop culture news, or it's not that I invest a lot of time, but I'm interested. So how do I channel my mind differently so it's not indulging in unproductive activities, or it's okay as long as it's just harmless and my meditation practice is okay?
Exactly. If it is harmless, we are allowed to take little bit of. For example, you will be surprised that I am curious about Taylor Swift, not of her songs, not of what she is doing, but I got curious about her when I came to know that Harvard has started a course on her. Another Ivy League school has started a course on Taylor Swift, and Time magazine declared her Person of the Year. And then also I was not so curious, but one Princeton University professor wrote that Taylor Swift is the new spirituality. Then I got interested. What is so spiritual about her? Okay, now I understand by spirituality he meant that her performances bring transcendence to her fans, feels like they transcend their political divisions, age divisions, they feel like they were somewhere else. That is Taylor Swift, okay. So I believe with that kind of mentality, if we can, with that overarching purpose, if we can approach things, no harm in that. So Maharaj, 8:30, let's stop.
Yeah, so last
two more
questions.
Okay, last two questions. Okay.
Ashish and Hena.
Okay, please.
Swamiji, thank you for the talk.
Yes, thank you.
Swamiji, you might have already answered this, but if we have to practice our meditation and we are told to keep our focus on our Ishta and not have any other thoughts come to our minds, and have to have focus, otherwise you're not going to have good meditation. But if I find sometimes when I'm reading about these concepts about society or climate or culture, the mind gets absorbed into these ideas, and then I find myself thinking of, or even technology, it could be about work. If I get completely absorbed in an idea, it possesses me almost, and then I'm not able to come out of it. And I find that my meditation then is not as effective if through the day I say, okay, I'm going to keep my mind focused on my goal, my spirituality as a spiritual seeker, and I'm only going to think about those things that are relevant to my spiritual life. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I'm limiting my focus, ideas, curiosity to things that will help me improve my spiritual practice and meditation, because that's my number one priority right now.
Right.
So how do I balance that? Am I killing my curiosity or?
No, you have to be curious about only your Ishta now. Okay. If you are into that you can. If you are not pursuing curiosity in other things, then you are pursuing only your Ishta. Then keep Ishta the focus. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Swamiji. Today's course was kind of complement to our regular class, curiosity, and Maharaj is teaching us discrimination. So keep that, but we need to know where to do neti.
Right.
My question is not learning, unlearning what I have it. That is the difficult. How do I do unlearning?
Unlearning of what?
What I have already, which is just is in my baggage, and I have to unlearn those, then only I can learn more things, because my capacity has a limited. So if I do not unlearn what I think is right, and how I will learn the new things.
Yeah, so one does not have to unlearn everything, right? So one has to unlearn only the wrong way, the wrong things, wrong way of looking at this. And if Swami Vivekananda said that we move from truth to higher truth, okay. So unlearning may be seen as a continuous journey of learning better and better. Instead of thinking that unlearn, you may think that what we learned was helping me, was working till now. But now in this new paradigm, I have to go one step further. Okay. So in that case also, curiosity helps. That we are thinking that we have to unlearn to learn something, that means we are open. We are open to learn new things. That is, we are curious to learn new things. In contrast to, we are closed. In contrast to, we are closed, that whatever we learned, that's it. We don't want to get challenged. We don't want to expand our knowledge. That is the just opposite of what curiosity is. So because curiosity's purpose is to make us open to learning, making us open to experience. And if it is serving that purpose, so learning, unlearning, not a problem, I believe. Okay, Maharaj? Oh, should I do Shanti or you will do?
You just thank them for.
Oh.
Then we will thank you.
Okay. Thank you for being here, and I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much. I would not have known there is so much to think about curiosity. So you have made us, and I think it's a great thing to think about. Because as the different ideas that came up about the positives of curiosity and the potentially negative aspects, and how do we balance it. There's a lot to think about, and thank you for making us think about it. Yeah, thank you. And we are curious when you will be coming next time.
Me too.
So the upcoming programs on next Sunday, we'll have Antar Yoga, and as was announced last week, we have already resumed our coffee, but on Antar Yoga days, there'll be also soup, and we'll celebrate the birthday of whoever was born in that month. So if any of you were born in the month of May, or if anybody you know who were born in the month of May, bring them along. So there'll be a big cake and soup waiting for you at the end of next Sunday's program. On Saturday, we'll have meditation as usual. And then if you're curious about what's the next section of the Vivek Chudamani that we are studying on Wednesday, then you can get your curiosity fulfilled by coming next Wednesday for the study of Vivek Chudamani. Now I'm going to look at everything from a curiosity point of view.